Julie Peck was born on September 26, 1926, in Santa Rosa, California. Her early years were not spent in lavish comfort, but instead shaped by itinerant parents who traveled as vaudeville performers. The daughter of Josephine and Jack Peck, Julie's exposure to music and stagecraft came early. She watched from behind the curtains as her parents performed in small theaters and local shows, and that theatrical backdrop seeped into her bones. The Great Depression carved scarcity into their lives, but it did not diminish their artistic spirit. When Julie was still a child, her family relocated to San Bernardino. Despite the move, their home remained filled with music, both from the records they cherished and from the piano that Julie's mother played in moments of quiet reflection. Her father worked as a vaudeville song and dance man, and though the limelight never made them wealthy, it created an atmosphere where performance was revered. As a young girl, Julie was shy. Her beauty attracted attention, but she carried herself with restraint. Her earliest ambitions were not focused on fame or fortune. Instead, she was drawn to poetry, to the subtle inflections of voice, and to the sound of jazz singers like Billie Holiday and Lee Wiley, who stirred something elemental in her. When the Peck family eventually settled in Los Angeles, Julie enrolled at Hollywood Professional School. Surrounded by the children of actors and musicians, her comfort with the performing arts grew, though she remained inward and unassuming. Her striking looks, however, didn't go unnoticed. A talent scout spotted her in a department store elevator in 1944, and that chance meeting led to a screen test at Warner Brothers. Julie began landing small parts in films, billed as Julie London. Her first credited role came in Nabonga, 1944, a jungle adventure film with modest aspirations. From there, she appeared in a string of B-movies, playing secretaries, ingenues, and love interests. Her acting style, quiet, emotionally restrained, laced with ambiguity, reflected her personality. But Hollywood in the 1940s was a factory, and Julie wasn't built for assembly line stardom. She avoided the party circuit and spent her free time in bookstores and jazz clubs. Though still in her 20s, she seemed older in temperament, more interested in art and introspection than celebrity. In 1947, Julie married actor Jack Webb, the man behind Dragnet. Their relationship was passionate but stormy. Webb, a stickler for order and obsessed with his work, often clashed with Julie's introverted and independent streak. They had two daughters, Stacy and Lisa. Julie gave birth while balancing minor acting roles and caring for her children, but the marriage began to deteriorate under the weight of clashing personalities. The couple divorced in 1954, though they remained cordial. It was Jack Webb, ironically, who later helped resurrect Julie's career through his media connections and influence at Liberty Records. In 1955, Julie was introduced to producer Bobby Troup at a nightclub. Troup, a jazz pianist best known for penning "Get Your Kicks on Route 66, was immediately drawn to her. He encouraged her to pursue singing more seriously. Julie had always loved music, but had never imagined herself as a front-facing performer. Still, with Troup's guidance, she began experimenting in the studio. That same year, she recorded a stripped-down rendition of Arthur Hamilton's "Cry Me a River." The session was minimalist, just Barney Kessel on guitar, Ray Leatherwood on bass, and Julie's breathy, smoky vocal. It was raw, intimate, and utterly different from the heavily orchestrated fare of the era. When Liberty Records released it, "Cry Me a River" became a phenomenon. The song charted globally and established Julie London as a singer of extraordinary restraint and mood. Julie's vocal style never sought to overpower. Instead, it invited listeners into a quiet room where heartbreak and longing were spoken in whispers. Her contralto voice wasn't technically towering, but what it lacked in volume, it made up for in texture. She sang like someone confiding secrets, turning simple lyrics into confessions. Between 1955 and 1969, she released over 30 albums. Each bore her signature intimacy: "Lonely Girl," Calendar Girl, Julie Is Her Name, and Around Midnight stood out for their minimal arrangements and late-night atmosphere. Her album covers became iconic in their own right, often featuring Julie in elegant or provocative poses, reflecting both vulnerability and command. Though her music earned commercial success, Julie resisted becoming a media darling. She declined elaborate interviews, avoided self-promotion, and rarely spoke about her recording process. Fans found her reticence mystifying, yet magnetic. She let the song speak, and they did. She married Bobby Troup in 1959, and the union became her true anchor. Together, they raised a blended family that included children from previous marriages and their own. Troup managed much of Julie's career, arranging studio sessions, negotiating contracts, and even appearing with her in live performances. They shared a quiet chemistry, both in life and on stage. Despite her success, the pressure of constant recording took a toll. Julie battled anxiety, which sometimes intensified before performances. She often requested dim lighting during concerts and avoided large talk show appearances. In a world that demanded extroversion, she held firm to her introverted grace. In the late 1960s, as rock and soul eclipsed traditional pop, Julie shifted gears. Though still recording music, she accepted a television role that would introduce her to a new audience. In 1972, she joined the cast of Emergency, a medical drama created by none other than her first husband, Jack Webb. Julie played Dixie McCall, the head nurse at Rampart General Hospital. The show ran for 6 seasons, and Julie's performance won admiration for its subtlety and quiet authority. Viewers unfamiliar with her earlier career now knew her as a competent, compassionate nurse. Acting in a weekly series brought structure and visibility. Julie appreciated the change of pace and the chance to work alongside her husband Bobby Troup, who also had a recurring role on the show. The couple's on-screen presence was understated yet palpable, a reflection of their real-life partnership. Still, the late 1970s brought sadness. Several of Julie's close friends passed away, and the musical world she had once ruled began to fade from public memory. Though reissues of her albums circulated among collectors, her name began to retreat from the limelight. Julie's last known recording was in the late 1980s. After Bobby Troup suffered a stroke, she devoted her time to caring for him. He passed away in 1999 after 40 years of marriage. The loss devastated her. She retreated into near-total privacy, declining public appearances and distancing herself from the entertainment world. In 2000, Julie suffered a debilitating stroke of her own. The years that followed were quiet. Family and close friends kept her surrounded with affection, though her health continued to decline. She rarely left home and made no effort to relaunch her music. But for those who had fallen in love with her voice, her legacy never vanished. Fans passed around bootlegs of rare live recordings, audiophiles hunted for vinyl pressings of Julie Is Her Name, and younger singers from Norah Jones to Lana Del Rey cited her as a personal muse. On October 18, 2000, Julie London died in Encino, California, at the age of 74. The official cause was cardiac arrest, though she had suffered multiple health setbacks in her final years. She was buried beside Bobby Troup at Forest Lawn Memorial Park. Their graves lay beneath simple headstones, marked with names and dates, nothing ornate, just like the woman herself. Julie London's influence, though we won't use the word itself, can be heard in every modern singer who values atmosphere over power, quiet over bluster. Her voice remains a fixture on late-night radio, in black-and-white films, in memory. She did not perform to be seen. She sang to be heard, by the lonely, the romantic, the broken-hearted, and the hopeful. And while the world spins faster and louder, there remains something uniquely arresting in her restrained delivery. A single whisper from her records carries more weight than 1,000 shouts.